Alright. Hey, and we're live. Alright, y'all. We're getting started here. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream as we're firing it up and as it's getting out there. Like the video if you haven't, and we'll be back after this short intro. Alright, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm Andrew Mercado, or Mercado. I'm an independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. I've been covering this war for nearly 60 days now. Check in if you've been here since the beginning, or check in if you're just in here tuning in. If this is your first time, well, I'd like to welcome you guys. Again, this is Mercado Media, independent media, frontline journalism when I can get out there and do my own reporting. But for now, we're here at the command center, and we've been, again, covering the war with our amazing community. Shout out to our Discord community. Shout out to our member community. Shout out to everybody that's been tuned in since day one. Shout out to our veteran community. Everybody, you're on time. We just got started, Simon. All right, let's get into it. I was live. Sundays are my day off, so that's where I was yesterday. And then, Friday nights are my day off. My days are getting scrambled, so I'm off Friday nights, and then Sundays are my full day off, but I might be streaming some video games tomorrow, so look out for that. Alright, first update. President Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, revealed that the Russian missile attack on Odessa has so far resulted in 5 deaths. One 3-month-old baby included in that number, and 18 others wounded in the attacks which came on the eve of Orthodox Easter. Russian military thwarted a planned evacuation effort from the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol, an aide to the mayor of the city said on Saturday. More than 100,000 civilians remain in Mariupol, and multiple attempts to evacuate them have failed. In his nightly address on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy said the attack on Ukraine was intended only as a beginning, and that Russia aims to invade other countries. That should be our first poll in the chat. Again, you can find this in our description, you guys, every day that we update. Not too many updates. It was if you will, a slow news day in the world, if you can even say that nowadays. But it's a shorter update, but we have plenty of video to go through because I wasn't live yesterday. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd will travel to Kyiv on Sunday. That's going to be interesting to cover, so we'll have to look out for that. I might have to do an update on that tomorrow, a shorter update. The other thing too to look out for is I'm going to be adding an editor to the team. I'm going to be going through emails, and if you are a video editor, if you're interested in being a video editor for the channel, email us mercado.media.productions@gmail.com. I'm going to be editing these streams into shorter videos and daily uploads, so that way, like, if you can't hang out for the entire stream, understandably people got work in the morning and it's like a 3-hour long stream, so I'm going to be adding an editor to the YouTube channel, and making a shorter 10-minute to 15-minute video from the stream that we're doing of the highlights, and then posting those the morning of the next day, as well as to the Facebook page. So that's going to be coming up soon. But the first poll I want to put in the chat is, do you believe Russia let me see, I'm going to read this one again. Russian military, quote, thwarted as a planned evacuation effort from the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol, an aide to the mayor of the city said on Saturday. More than 100,000 civilians remain in Mariupol, and multiple attempts to evacuate them have failed. In his nightly address on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy said the attack on Ukraine was intended only as a beginning, and that Russia aims to invade other countries. And I'm going to ask a poll in the chat as we look at some of the video from Odessa, if you believe that Russia's going to stop at Ukraine, or if you agree that they're going to continue on into other countries, or do you think that Russia's aims are beyond Ukraine? Their military, I mean, their ground forces are clearly not capable of even taking Ukraine. It's wild to think that they'd have bigger aspirations, but I mean, I'm going to ask the chat and I want to know what you guys think. All right, so first clip I have, while I put that poll in the chat, is we're going to be looking up the video from Odessa. All right, let's get into it. Like the video if you haven't. Oh, other thing too, we got New Jersey, guys. Comment where you guys are watching from. Let's do a check-in. I didn't do a viewer check-in really quick. Let's do a viewer check-in while I pull up the poll, and then we'll watch the video from Odessa that came out a few hours ago. Do you appreciate that? Yeah, go ahead, comment in the chat really quick. Comment where you're tuning in from. Viewer check-in while I get this poll fired up. Stop. Or I gotta figure out how to word this. How you doing, California? Salem, Missouri. How you doing? Welcome. You believe Poland next, then Sweden. Okay. Russia's at war with the West, even empire. I'm gonna put in the poll. Do you believe Russia will stop with Ukraine? Fort Myers, Florida. How you doing? All right, stop. Hey, thank you, Christine. Invade. All right, here we go. That's the best way I can put it. Birmingham, Alabama, welcome. Strong Island, New York. But thank you so much, Christine, for that super chat. You're amazing. All right, so let's look at this video here. That poll is up in the chat. Poll is up. This is the head of Ukrainian presidential office, Andriy Yermak, reports that the number of people killed during the missile attack in Odessa has risen to 5. Another 18 people were wounded. This is video of Odessa, and again, here's Odessa on our map. We haven't. I think I just said a couple streams ago that there hasn't been any activity in Odessa. I mean, the Russians are proving that there's nowhere safe in Ukraine, even though their soldiers and their troops are not anywhere near Kyiv. They're pushed back. They got pushed to the east, but their strikes are reaching cities regardless. So Lviv was hit last week Monday, and that is the far western city in Ukraine. And then now Odessa down here, the western port city, was hit with missile strikes. Here's additional footage. We're just going to be going through some clips of that. Am I too quiet? Hold on. How about that? I can turn my mic up some. Am I too quiet? I don't want to be yelling too loud in the mic. How about that? Is that good? All right. You can hear Andrew. Okay. So here's pictures. Russian missiles hit Odessa apartment blocks, killing 5. Here's some picture. You can hear. Awesome. How you guys doing? You sound fine. Thank you. Thanks, chat. Used to think you would, but okay. Here's more video, about a minute long. Ukraine Emergency Ministry showing the results of today's Russian missile attack in Odessa. A block of civilian apartments were hit. Alright, that's again from Odessa. Here's more clip video circulating on social media. The moment Russian missile strikes a civilian apartment complex in Odessa. So again, Odessa, western port city. Here it is on the map. Full map of Ukraine. Blue Ukraine, red Russia. Russia controlled territory here to the east. They don't hold any ground to the north or to the west, northeast or northwest of Kyiv anymore. But all their soldiers are amassing to the east, especially in the Donbass region. But again, this is the city of Odessa on civilian targets. Again, there's a war of attrition that Russia fights. They attack civilians. Their military is terrible. Their ground forces can't even beat. They can't fight it. They're not good at all. So most of their military attacks have been on civilian targets. I mean, I think we can count maybe on 2 hands how many actual military targets they've hit, honestly. And all the military targets that they've hit, we've looked at the satellite imagery of them too. They haven't hit many. It's been mostly civilian targets. I'm gonna turn this down preemptively.
Андрюша, ёб твою мать.
Right. So again, Antony, Blinken, and Lloyd are going to visit Kyiv on tomorrow. Well, later today, actually. Oh, the things. Oh no, I got to put this back on. Move myself down. I'll move this up quick. Hide that for now. There we go. Camera was messed up. Here's low-flying Russian Ka-52 helicopter in the Donbass. This is to the east. There's a Ka-52 Alligator. It's got the dual rotors on it. Russian helicopter. Very low flying. And then here is video Russian cruise missile that targeted Odessa today. It looks like an air-launched KH-01. We'll look up what that is. Air-launched KH-01 missile. It's got that whistle noise that you never want to hear. And then here's a video of the strike in Odessa. All right, and then now that's a situation going on in Odessa, and we'll definitely get into more of that. We're just going over some of the things that my account, again, follow us on Twitter, that we were able to share today, and then we'll be going into all these individual accounts for clips and the combat footage of the day. We got Rob from Speak the Truth. We got John Sweeney videos to go through. We got plenty of content to get through. But this is the other situation going on, y'all, in the Azovstal plant in Mariupol. That is the other one. So there's, I'd say there's the two big situations going on is the amounts of civilians in the Azovstal steel plant underground, because the city of Mariupol is fell to Russia in a sense. The city's taken over. The only thing left is this Azovstal steel plant. It's essentially a giant fortress, but Vladimir Putin said, was it yesterday or the day before, that they're just going to seal them in there. They're not going to let them out. Here it is from the GPS, from the satellite. They're not going to let anybody out or in. They're not even going to send their own soldiers in, because it's Russia was losing lots of soldiers in here. So they're just going to seal off all the entrances and exits and starve them out. All the civilians in here it's a combination of a couple Ukrainian military units. There's some Azov battalion in there, and a lot of civilians. So here's a video.
Ушли с мамой и бабушкой из дома. После этого не видели ни неба, ни солнца. Вообще, очень хочется выбраться отсюда, чтобы это было безопасно, чтобы никто не пострадал. Хочем отсюда поскорее вибратися.
А ви теж тут не працюєте на комбінаті?
Муж працює.
А, муж, ви сюди.
В этом цеху работает.
My husband works in the 85th workshop of the plant. We've been here since the 2nd of March. We really want to go home, but apparently we no longer have a home.
Ну, будемо надіятися на коридор якийсь.
Будем надеяться. Потому что кушать уже заканчивается.
I want us to get out of here, see the sun overhead, because we have been here like 2 months and I want to see the sun.
хотели увидеть солнце наконец, потому что мы уже здесь как 2 месяца сидим и хочется увидеть солнце. Короче, мы с Ростиком играли в Супербет, такая игра на телефоне, он сейчас его.
Да?
Давай,
Класс. Ой,
выбачте. Мы бы так бы играли в телефон.
You would have played the phone longer, but I want to go home. I want to see the sun.
Он хочется домой, хочется солнце увидеть.
Ой, какие котик у тебя, класс.
Здравствуйте, мы тут это...
Привет.
Я увидел, что вы пришли. Вот хотел бы кое-что сказать.
Давай.
Мы вот очень хотим вернуться все домой, хотим вернуться живыми, хотим увидеть своих
We really want to go home. We want to come back alive. We want to see our families.
родных там и так далее. Все, которые поэтому очень сильно.
Да.
So that's the kids that's down in the Azovstal plant. We'll get to that video. There was another one too that I had seen of how far down it is. Let's see if it's posted. Azovstal. Here it is. Russia continues to attack the Azovstal plant. In this video, you can see the children who, according to Russians, are not there. Because the Russian narrative is saying that there aren't any children in the steel plant. They need a humanitarian corridor. I'm interested. Will the world only watch this tragedy? Oh, this is from... Who's this person? Head of the Center for Civil Liberties of Ukraine. Okay. Here's a video, though. They've been there since the 2nd of March or even before. The steel plant's a fortress. There's tunnels and everything to protect people from... The USSR built it. The USSR built it as a nuclear bomb shelter, essentially, for the workers and everybody here. There's tunnels and everything that prevents shelling, so there's been civilians under there since the invasion started. Why would soldiers position themselves with civilians? That's like War 101. Like that happened. Civilians are unfortunately a part of it. Unfortunately.
Здрасте.
Добрый день. Мы тут вам с подарочками. Можно разложиться. Подзовите. Детки.
Підходьте, до вас трошки щось вкусного привезли. Проходьте.
А можно мы выложить, а раздавать мы будем, чтобы потом по-честному всем одинаково? Можно? Вот, пожалуйста, там стол. Вот.
Да, давайте, там можете.
А мы потом они покушают, а мы им раздадим.
Все, да, бо там
Хорошо?
трошки
Можно
сладості, трошки такого щось. Потрошки пособирали. Привіт, як ваші діла?
Кулачок.
Тебе не кажется, что этот дядечка военный похож на крестного?
If you're having issues with notifications, just check and make sure that your notifications are set to all. Sometimes that if you have the notification bell clicked, it'll just be suggested videos. Check the bell on the homepage of the channel.
Чуть-чуть.
Привіт. Як діла? Як ваші діла, дівчатка?
Нормально, все хорошо.
Що ви, нові корзинки діяли, чим ви займалися?
Ні, я корзинку з Ростиком играла.
Да?
в Супербет.
А я бачу, ти ж тут плила, да, по-моєму, в прошлый раз? Класс. Це для украшений, да?
Да.
Яка красота. Красиво, умничка.
Короче, мы с Ростиком играли в Супербет, такая игра на телефоне, он сейчас его.
Да?
Давай,
Класс. Ой,
показать.
вибачте.
Мы бы так бы играли в телефон, но хочется домой, хочется солнце увидеть.
Ой, який котик у тебе, класс.
Здравствуйте, мы тут это...
Привет.
Я увидел, что вы пришли. Вот хотел бы кое-что сказать.
Давай.
So they're in like a literal fallout shelter, essentially, under the steel plant. All right, let's go to the profile. This is another video too I want you guys to see. National Guard musician performs the anthem of Ukraine in front of the building of the regional state administration in Kharkiv. Kharkiv's up here. Eastern city in Ukraine on the border of Russia has been constantly shelled by Russian military. Hasn't been any ground battles in the city, just shellings of civilian apartment complexes and residential areas. Thank you, Mel C. Takes 10 of us with the $10. I have 100 for. Thank you so much, Mel C. Challenge for Snack Squad. So that was, again, National Guard musician performs the anthem of Ukraine in front of the building of the regional state administration in Kharkiv, which has been destroyed. Oh, this was the presser he did. Is there an English dubbed presser video? If you guys have it, please send to our Discord server in the video clips. And if you haven't joined our Discord server yet, please do so.
Я думаю, що після приїзду, і якщо буде час, визнаємо секретаря. І я думаю, що у нього дуже поважний статус, йому обов'язково треба спочатку.
All right. Paul P. Great work. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Paul P. Thank you, Paul. And now let's go. Oh, here's another angle of the Russia's cruise missile strike in Odessa. Again, city of Odessa, western port city to the south. Here it is on the map. Wow. Civilian targets. Russian Orlan 10 UAV footage showing Krasnopol artillery strikes. I'm trying to find the YouTube video that just summarizes the war clips of the day. Wonder if it's gonna pull up the channel. What's the channel that we watched? I have it. It's in our Discord server. That summarizes all of the combat footage of the day. It was like War Leaks or something. It's changed names a couple times. Thank you for the great coverage. Thank you, AZZ. And then Patricia, thank you for all you do. I understand what's going on because of you. Thank you, Patricia. Hope you follow all these sources as well. What do we got here? Breaking. Without making it public, Slovakia has started transferring T-72 tanks to Ukraine. 2 of them were spotted today in the Lugansk region heading for the front lines. Great job, Slovakia. Slovakia is sending T-72 tanks. Oh, we can. Oh, below the fifth column, we need to watch that too. Is this the Zelensky? Oh, there's no subtitles. Hard to do the ones without subtitles. Yesterday. Checking our Discord server. This was posted on yesterday. In February, less than a week before the invasion of Ukraine, we were filming in Ukraine. Oh, this is going to be the... let's come back to this one. Let's come back to this one. I want to make sure we cover the latest news, but this is... I'm going to save this video to come back to. Ukraine's pre-invasion militia training. That's just came out yesterday. No, there wasn't any translations on that one. Let's go to Rob Lee. We'll come back to that video. And then John. We saw that. That's what hit Odessa today. If you guys haven't seen it, there was a cruise missile strike in the city of Odessa. That's what that sounds like if you haven't heard it yet. What do we got here? In addition to attempting to assassinate Antony, Chubais Kuvachov was also the primary driver for the creation of the SSO, Russia's equivalent to the JSOC. Kind of Russian war analytics far-right former Colonel Kavachov explains to the international war criminal Igor Gurkin what he believes is the main problem of the Russian... Oh man, I don't even know if I can play that. So, you guys can read that.
Главными воинами на этой войне с нашей страны являются евреи и чеченцы. Вот это ощущение, что именно евреи и чеченцы являются той основой противодействия украинской, сионо-бандеровской власти. А тогда кто мы, русские? Ощущение вообще.
So I got some anti-Semitism coming from an Russian war analytics saying why they believe that there's issues in the Russian military. Why they're struggling. A video, if you haven't seen it, of the cruise strike in Odessa. And Ukraine video report. You're not on Discord? Darn it. Where's the clip squad for Discord? On Reddit. We saw that, the Su-25 over Donetsk. That's in Donetsk. What do we have here? Ukrainian SSO members firing a 120 millimeter mortar. Location given? No, no location given. Okay. And this is what we're looking for. So there are subtitles 30 seconds in. All right. Here's President Zelensky. There are subtitles on this.
Наші захисники і захисниці. Завершується 58-й день нашої оборони. Завершується у Страсну п'ятницю. Один з найскорботніших днів року для християн. День, коли смерть, здається, перемогла, але ми надіємося на Воскресіння. Ми віримо у перемогу життя над смертю. І ми молимося, щоб смерть програла. В цьому році, у час повномасштабної війни, війни Росії проти нашої держави, ці слова мають для нас особливе значення. Росія принесла в Україну смерть. Після 8 років жорсткої війни на Донбасі Росія захотіла знищити нашу державу повністю. Буквально позбавити українців права, нашого права на життя. Але якими б не були жорстокими битви, у смерті немає шансів перемогти життя. Це знає кожна людина, це знає кожен християнин. Це базовий елемент нашої культури. Можливо, в сучасній російській культурі цього вже не існує. Бо щоб зробити все, що вони наробили проти українців, у наших містах треба вбити в собі людину. Бо людина будь-якої віри просто не може такого зробити. Але для нашої культури усе це має значення і матиме значення. І життя точно переможе смерть. Я вдячний нашим британським друзям за важливе символічне рішення, яке було оголошено саме сьогодні про повернення посольства в Київ. Велика Британія стала 21-ю державою, яка повертає дипломатичне представництво в нашу столицю. І це свідчить про те, що не ми одні віримо в перемогу життя над смертю. Сьогодні з посиланням на російських військових була розповсюджена новина про те, що начебто їхнім завданням зараз є встановлення контролю над півднем України і вихід до кордону Молдови. І нібито там, у Молдові, порушуються права російськомовних. Хоча, якщо бути чесним, то територія, на якій Росії варто би попіклуватись про права російськомовних, це сама Росія. Де немає свободи слова, немає свободи вибору, просто не існує права на іншу думку, де процвітає бідність і де людське життя нічого не варте. Аж настільки, що вони їдуть до нас, їдуть на війну, щоб вкрасти собі хоч щось, що нагадує нормальне життя. Знаєте, як раніше говорили про найбільшу мрію – побачити Париж і померти. А від їхньої поведінки тепер просто шок, бо їхня мрія тепер вкрасти унітаз та померти. Що ж, це тільки підтверджує те, що я вже неодноразово говорив, російське вторгнення в Україну передбачалося тільки як початок. А далі вони хочуть захопити інші країни. Звісно, ми будемо захищати стільки, скільки потрібно, щоб зламати цю амбіцію Російської Федерації. Але усі народи, які так само, як і ми, вірять у перемогу життя над смертю, мають боротися разом із нами, мають допомагати нам, оскільки саме ми стали першими на цьому шляху. А хто далі? Якщо той, хто може опинитись далі, хоче залишитись сьогодні нейтральним, щоб не втратити щось, то це найбільш ризикована ставка насправді, бо ви втратите все. Збройні сили України продовжують стримувати атаки російських загарбників на сході та на півдні нашої держави. Ізюмський напрямок, Донбас, Приазов'я, Маріуполь, Херсонська область – це ті місця, де зараз вирішується доля цієї війни і майбутнього нашої держави. В Слов'янську, Краматорську, загалом в Донецькій області, в Попасній та загалом і в Луганській області, в Харкові, у навколишніх районах окупанти намагаються реалізувати примітивну мету – вбити якнайбільше і знищити все, що вони бачать. І я вдячний кожному нашому захиснику і кожній нашій захисниці, які хоробро тримаються і привчають російську армію до думки про те, що російські шанси у цій війні можуть бути меншими, ніж українські. І як і кожного ранку, як і кожного дня, як і кожного вечора ми сьогодні приділяли максимальну увагу тому, щоб забезпечити наших військових усією необхідною зброєю. Це завдання номер 1 для нашої держави. І я вдячний усім нашим партнерам, які нарешті почули нас, які передають нам саме те, що ми просили. Бо ми точно знаємо, що з цією зброєю ми зможемо врятувати життя тисяч людей. І можемо показати окупантам, що день, коли вони змушені будуть залишити Україну, наближається. Продовжується повернення нормального життя на території, які звільнені від окупантів. Якщо на початок цього тижня розмінування відбулось у 70 населених пунктах, то станом на сьогодні розміновано 184 населених пункти. Звісно, потрібно зробити ще дуже багато, але темп, я вважаю, непоганий. Гуманітарні штаби працюють на території вже більше ніж 500 деокупованих населених пунктів. Щодобово додаються майже по 100 населених пунктів, куди ми повертаємо медичні та освітні послуги, роботу органів соціального захисту, фінансові установи. У доволі швидкому темпі відновлюємо транспортне сполучення, плюс 96 населених пунктів за добу, куди повернули автомобільне сполучення, плюс 183 населених пункти, куди повернули роботу АЗС, плюс 90 населених пунктів, куди повернули ми електрику, повертаємо водопостачання, забезпечення газом, забезпечення зв'язком. Повернення України у міста та громади означає в повному сенсі цих слів повернення життя. Вірю, що таке повернення відбудеться і на півдні нашої держави, і на сході України. В усіх районах, куди під прапором Росії занесли деградацію, руйнування і смерть. Але це залежить від того, наскільки єдиними ми всі будемо у протидії російському вторгненню. Ще раз наголошую, за будь-якої можливості кожен і кожна мають протистояти окупації, ігноруйте окупантів, не співпрацюйте з ними, не допомагайте їм, знешкоджуйте колаборантів. Збройні сили України блискуче виконують свої завдання. Розвідка, Національна гвардія, тероборона, поліція, прикордонники – всі на 100% працюють на перемогу. Але на перемогу також мають працювати і кожен громадянин в тому, чим він займається, і там, де знаходиться. Якщо ви за кордоном, підтримуйте Україну. Якщо ви займаєтесь звичайною економічною діяльністю, робіть все, щоб Україні було якнайбільше користь. Якщо ви опинились на тимчасово окупованій території, старайтесь. Розумію, складно, але старайтесь зробити окупантам якнайбільше.
Hey, turn off your closed captions. I have his translation on there. What do y'all need to turn your closed captions off. I have the real ones on the screen this whole time. I thought y'all were seeing this. It's been at the bottom.
Проблем. Збройні сили України – це наш.
Armed Forces of Ukraine are our foundation. Y'all need to turn yours off whenever there's like ones that are accurate on here.
Фундамент, але на цьому фундаменті має завжди стояти фортеця з нашої національної єдності. Єдності усіх українців, які борються за життя і проти смерті, проти російської навали. Традиційно ввечері підписав указ про нагородження наших героїв. Державними нагородами відзначені 48 захисників України за мужність в бойових діях, за зразкове виконання військового обов'язку. Вічна слава усім, хто захищає державу. Вічна пам'ять кожному, хто загинув за Україну. Слава Україні!
All right, now turn it back on. Now turn your... You can barely read my subtitles. Yeah, YouTube subtitles are they need to work on them. This is the channel I was looking for. This is the one I was looking for here. So this is from 6 hours ago. This is combat footage compiled from the 23rd of April. All the military combat actions. Now you guys can turn this closed captioning back on. This is from a compilation put together by Ukraine Combat YouTube channel. Ukrainian soldier, what did that say? Ukrainian soldier, oh. One more time. Ukrainian soldier shooting RPG from the ladder. Thank you, Game Granny, for that. Thanks for the best nightly summary on YouTube, and greetings from the Lurker's Den. Thank you so much, Game Granny. Ukrainian forces destroyed 2 Russian supply trucks in the Donetsk region. Like the video if you have not done so yet. You got nearly 1,000 tuned in. Hit that like button, y'all. Share this stream to a friend if you haven't. Make sure you have the notification bell turned on. Subscribe to comment. Three Ukrainian Smerch missile systems strike in sync against Russian targets. Russian helicopters firing while staying low in the Donbass region. The Russians use the tactics of tank carousel. Tanks alternatively leave the shelter. Make a shot and move away. Mariupol, Ukraine. Oliva, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that super sticker. They have most of it. I mean, they're still fighting in it, but they have the majority of Mariupol. The only thing they don't have is the Azovstal steel plant. That's the only thing left that they haven't taken yet. But there is still fighting around, still ground forces.
Удовольствие наблюдать, когда экипаж работает просто как по классике. Удар, выстрел, отошел. Удар, вышел, ударил, отошел.
There's some shoot in reverse here. It pulled forward and backed up. This is an RT video, so it like went back and forth. Either that or it's repeated multiple times. Now the cannon's at a different angle.
Удовольствие наблюдать, когда экипаж работает просто как по классике. Удар, выстрел, отошел. Удар, вышел, ударил, отошел. Вышел, ударил, отошел. Просто красота.
Ukrainian infantry push Russians out of a farm village in eastern Ukraine.
Мина!
Подождите, марафона нет! Уходим, уходим!
Я на месте! Да, рюкзак растянулся. Все.
That was a T-72. Again, these are Ukrainian military. I've seen Ukrainian forces identify themselves with the green as well now too. Yellow, blue, and green. I'm not sure what type of weapon that is. Anybody in the chat know? Anybody know what rifle he was using? It's an MTAR. IWI for the IPI Maluk. Kind of looked like that too, though, didn't it? The IPI. Let's look it up. IPI MAL. That looks more. That looks a little more accurate. This is the IPI Malyuk. I don't want to be on gun buying websites. That's the rifle that soldier had. That rifle is a Malyuk. There it is. We're asking what this was here. So that is this. Thank you, chat. It's basically an AK. Looked like there was a site for sure. You got a P. Looks like a PKM. Laying down a PKM here. Maybe it's an RPK. A potato quality here. Got way less recoil than an AK. Alright, Ukrainian soldiers target a Russian armored vehicle with an RP. Northwest Indiana, tune in. Ukrainian long distance MLRS BM-27. Oh, that was fast. Uragan in action during the night.
По москалям! Залпом! Вогонь!
So that was from the nighttime version of the daytime truck MLRS strikes that we watched. Russian Kaliber cruise missile spotted over Odessa today, and that's the thumbnail of the video. Is he going to show the strike? No. We can watch that too. Didn't even notice that. The press conference for Zelensky to go through as well. Again, like the video if you guys haven't. I'm Andrew Mercado. Comment where you guys are tuned in from. We're nearing the hour mark. These streams go for a minimum of 3 hours long, so we're nearing the 1 hour mark of the stream. 2 hours left to go. Like the video if you haven't. Check into the stream. Comment where you're tuned in from. I'm streaming from Minnesota, to let you all know. But let me know what city, what state, or where in the world are you guys watching from. Let's do this. In February, less than a week before the Russian invasion, we were filming in Ukraine. We spent time with the citizen militias of the territorial defense who were training just in case Russia started the war with Ukraine, which at the time was an uncertain possibility. So let's see this. This was just released today, or yesterday, I should say. About their pre-war training. Light up, bro, about to as well. Sounds good. Kenosha, Wisconsin's tuned in. How's Kenosha doing? Brooklyn Park. Hastings, Minnesota. Welcome. How you doing? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tampa, Florida is tired. Full credit to this video from Popular Front. All right. Spark one up. About a 10-minute video here. Of course, Russia did invade. Now the territorial defense has been deployed all over Ukraine, fighting Russian forces on the front lines in many different areas. What we filmed quickly became less than relevant. Excuse me, let me try that again. What we filmed quickly became less relevant after Russia invaded, but we're publishing some of the interviews we did with Ukrainian citizens that were training with the territorial defense. This was all filmed 5 days before the invasion.
right now we're on the outskirts of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, where thousands of people have come to these training camps to learn what to do if Russia does invade the country, which unfortunately is looking more likely by the day now. Over the last 8 years there's been war in the east, but since then Kyiv has kind of been a bit disconnected from that. But now with the threat on the border, it's looking like the war might come to their doorstep.
Контакт зліва! Змістилися на коліно! Контакт зліва!
Контакт зліва!
This is one of the main citizen militia trainings, which is part of the Ukraine military's territorial defense. Civilians volunteer to be trained by serving soldiers and veterans of the war in East Ukraine. We spoke to one of the instructors, a sergeant from northern Ukraine. Do you think that if Russia does invade, that these units will actually be effective trying to fight them here in Kyiv?
Я буду намагатися їх підготовити на довжний рівень, аби вони могли ефективно дати відпор російській агресії.
What do you make of the claims that Russia is going to invade in the next few days?
It's a video that Andrew Callaghan from Channel 5 interviewed.
Думка така, що це їх рішення, і це рішення буде вироком для них. Це і так вже затягнулося, але відпор дамо. Я сподіваюся, що вони не допустять такої безглуздості. Як кажеться, пришедший к нам с мечом, отмечая, погибнет.
On February 24th at 5 in the morning, Russia invaded Ukraine. They used the troops and equipment they'd been amassing on the borders for the past 4 months, which Russia said was just for training purposes. Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, says that all of this is a response to the possibility that Ukraine could one day join NATO. That would put Russia's biggest enemy even closer to their border. Bear in mind though, that Russia has backed, supplied and assisted separatist forces in East Ukraine for the last 8 years of the war there. A war
Thank you, Thomas.
Started by Russia when Ukrainians overthrew their old pro-Russian government in the 2014 revolution. And now Russia has invaded the whole country. Russia has attacked Ukraine's capital of Kyiv. This threat was why many joined the citizen militias in the first place.
Єгер! До бою!
The territorial defense has camps all over Ukraine,
Wow.
with hundreds of people attending the training each weekend. We spoke to some of the volunteers at the training in Kyiv just days before Russia attacked. So can you tell me why you've come to the training today?
Yeah, well, I think that all the people, all the Ukrainians who can and have time and have like proper physical training can come here and go through this training, and also be part of territorial defense, because in the case of like really bad situation, when you're ready, when you have friends that are ready, all you together can defend your territory. For example, the capital, like really, really good.
You're not a soldier. What do you do in your day-to-day life?
I'm working, like I have other hobbies, like I'm painting and like meeting friends, just casual.
Normal stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for a job?
Well, it's partially analytical, partially like assistant in the projects in sociology firm.
The last 8 years when the war has been on, I feel like a lot of people in Kyiv have kind of disconnected, almost forgotten that it's happening. Now it's very close again. Do you think people are worried?
Yeah, I think that people are focusing now on this situation really a lot. A lot of people I know are planning some things in case of danger here in the capital.
What kind of things have you been learning here?
I don't know this in English, I just don't know.
You can say in Russian.
Тренування щодо цивільного захисту, щодо
ведення тактичних груп, там, тримання секторів, стрільба. Ну, наразі не зі справжньої зброї, хоча зі справжньої теж вмію стріляти досить гарно. Різні речі, насправді, це речі, які дійсно проходять в ЗСУ і так далі, але без там важкої, без артилерії чи інших там військових засобів.
Do you think it's possible it will come to that? Like Biden in the US, he's just said he thinks they'll literally invade Kyiv soon, you know, any time now. Do you think it will come to that? You'll actually have to, you know, implement these skills you've learned?
Well, hard question.
It's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's bad. That's why I think I don't know actually, but we need to be prepared. That's why I'm here and my friends are here, and we also need to think that only we can support ourselves.
Yeah, do you think that do you not think you'll get the help maybe the West is promising?
We need to be sure that we are ready by ourselves first of all. But yeah, West is helping a lot. But all the brains are here, and all the tactical and strategic moves, we need to produce it and provide it.
Do you think there's a prospect of like, you know, guerrilla warfare, urban warfare in Kyiv?
Yeah, sure. This territorial defense forces is getting people ready for such kind of things like guerrilla and so on.
It's looking increasingly likely that Russia might actually invade Ukraine now. I know the Americans have said a lot, but it does look quite likely now. Do you feel prepared that if they do come into Kyiv, you'll be able to defend your home?
We have to understand that we have army who really experienced to fight against the Russian army. We have to understand that we have no like civilian conflict on Russian border. This is definitely a Russian army. That's it. So, and our army is quite strong. So, but in addition to this, each civilian have to know how to, let's say, what to do in the case if, so worst case scenario, if Russian army will invade to Kyiv. So we have to understand that civilian not happy, not welcome to Russian we have no vodka, go home. It should be absolutely clear message for them. So that's why, sure, we should resist. We should try to do, so damage them as much as we can. So our family, like my mom and my kids, they will be moved to another territory, but we have to do our best and support our, let's say, forces. And first of all, I will hear my commander.
Okay, good luck, mate.
Thank
you
you
so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, later.
That's wild to think that Russia's been lying about everything since the beginning. They haven't told a single truth at all. It's just I forget that they didn't even admit that they were about to invade before they invaded. They've never told the truth at all. Here's BBC video. Live for Ukrainian troops dug into Kyiv's trenches.
Наші кияни повинні спати спокійніше через те, що ми тут знаходимося.
What is life like here in the trenches?
So it was a bit extreme at first, but then you get accustomed to it.
Well, this is the large network of trenches now here into the forest. It's probably some live fire exercises there.
Фактично з першого дня початку бомбіжки нашого міста Києва, тобто 24 лютого, в силу того, що наш підрозділ був сформований один з перших, ми висунулися на ці позиції і з першого дня фактично почали окапуватися.
It still feels astonishing to see how a modern European capital has suddenly been taken back to the trench-filled warfare of decades ago. And they're in this for the long haul because they now know that the threat to the very existence of their country will continue. So this is where some of the officers sleep.
Today we'll live here 3 persons.
3 people will sleep here now. Was it cold here?
No.
No, it's warm. Ah, you have a radiator.
Electric, yes.
At the start of the war, it was very cold here, yes?
Yes, yes.
I was accustomed to just regular bed and a flat and living with my friends. Then we got directly here. At the very first day, the first task for us was to build a place where we would live.
Great Britain sent us this weapon.
So there's anti-tank missiles from Britain?
Yes.
У нас на перших порах, у нас фактично, крім трьох гранатометів вітчизняного виробництва і декілька гранат, ми не мали жодної можливості уразити ворожі танки. З цією зброєю ширше плечі стали, більше впевненості, піднявся бойовий дух і, скажімо так.
And when was the last time that you used this weapon here?
Secret.
Secret, okay.
Soup. Please. Here you are, please.
It's almost like a city in the forest for these guys. They've got the places to sleep, the places to eat, and kilometers of trenches.
More 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, or 30 kilometers, I don't know. Every day we build new.
Really, every day you're building new
trenches?
trenches?
Yes, every day, every day.
Do you think you're still needed here, given that the Russian troops are no longer in the area around Kyiv?
Let's say we lose our positions on Donbass or Lugansk region, and then they see that we don't have enough troops and enough of resources to protect Kyiv. They would come back for their initial aim to take over our capital and take over our government.
Вони не повернуться, вони в будь-якому разі зроблять спробу сюди повернутися.
How long will you stay here for?
Скільки треба.
So as long as we need. That's in the trenches in Kyiv. Trocia Nets, 30 Days in Hell, Stories from Occupied Town in the Sumy region. What's this here? Trocia Nets, here, let's look up where that is. So we're at nearing day 60 in this war. Nearing day 60. Is on Reddit. So it's Trocia Nets northeast of Kharkiv, south of Sumy, here in the red dot. Or the red marker. All right. Start it over. Wow.
Нічого не осталось повністю. Навіть перегородка між нами і сусідом немає. Велика сплошна кімната.
Коли в'їхали перша єдиниця, іменно русських, були хлопці, вони казали, що ми срочники. От, багато хто здавав.
Саме найстрашніше. Ми сиділи вдома і не розуміли, що відбувається. Поки був інтернет, то хоч трошки щось. А коли вже не стало світа інтернету, і коли вони стріляли непонятно куди, стріляли вправо і вліво, і ми розуміли, що вроді як і наших нема, і вони кудись стріляють. Як коти в мішку, ви розумієте, ми були, ми не розуміли, що відбувається.
Ми жили в підвалі, нас не випускали 3 суток з підвала. Думали, оттуда сильніше ударять. Ми сюди з тещою в коляски перевезли її на цю сторону, в підвалі, там на 2 сторони. А воно наоборот сюди попало. Коротше, не поймеш.
Допитував мене персонаж, так скажемо, да? На стіл поклав снайперську гвинтівку. І от з одної сторони він сидів на курок, я з другого боку стола сидів. Кажу, ти чечен? Він, ні, я армянин. Кажу, а що ти тут робиш? Він каже, а чого ти такий борзий? Мов, ти що, не боїшся померти? Кажу, я не боюсь, я боюсь за свою родину, за свою дитину, за свою дружину, за матір.
Подождите, хоть я тут подивлюсь у зеркало. Баба, Господи. Ну тут почали, я тут сиділа, отут на стульчику, той стульчик стоїть. Сиділа, вони почали це ж стріляти, а тут двері так шаталися, і окна в мене були обклеєні тим скотчем, і вони так просто ж отакого ходили. І мені кажеться, що мене навіть цей 5-й етаж, типу, як двигався, це ж вже розбомбили, днів вже 10, мабуть, буде. 8, може, так. Ну, як я буду сама в цьому домі це жити? От подумайте, що ж, ні двері нема, ти туди на балконі, ну, окна, а це ж тільки що не розбилися. Господь допомагає про те.
Один, два, три.
Це груз цінний, яйця.
Пятый, цель 107, огонь.
Ось танк, який стояв прямою наводкою, лупив безпосередньо в нашу лікарню, причому розуміючи, що там живуть лікарі.
Останні 3 дні були в больницю. Стріляли, а потім у 2 часа перестали стріляти. І прийшли люди з міста і сказали, що бачили, що вивозять солдатів на машинах. А потім сказали, що вони цілими колонами виїжджають на Росію, в сторону Росії, по Ленінській вверх, туди, в сторону Росії. Виїхали, все, колона проїхала. Це було, я як зараз пам'ятаю, 4 часа вечора. Йдуть наша тероборона, і вони йдуть і кажуть, Галя, їх там нема. Ви знаєте, я як розплакалася.
У нас, когда наши зашли, ребятушки, Збройные силы нашей Украины, утром им чай в термосе принесли, они вот горяченький пили, а на следующий день мы ночью пекли хлеб. Я говорю, пошли к ребятам, хлеб свежий. И солдатик взял хлеб с печи и так поднес и говорит, мамой пахнет.
Ukraine, it's a door. It's like a door to Europe. So I hope you can keep the door closed.
І знаєте, що мене більше всього радувало в цій ситуації, що зібрались люди, які розуміли, що зараз може бути якийсь вибух, може бути небезпека, але вони намагалися допомогти своїм.
Well, that was a good video. Trossianet's 30 Days in Hell. Stories from occupied town in the Sumy region. Here's another one from Reddit. Looks like we need to start checking Reddit for more posts. Do I need to join the Reddit rabbit hole? This is a Ukrainian soldier eating chocolate again as shells land nearby.
О, бомбить авіація. А я шоколадки їм.
Just eating some chocolate. As some IDFs coming in. Be like that. How many have been deployed and just slept through the alarms? Reddit is GOAT. What is this here now? World War Room. Azov's battalion was killed by Chechen troops. April 23rd. We'll see. This looks like a Chechen video. That's what it claims. We'll see what the video says. Remember, the Chechen videos are likely incredibly fake. All of them. We've gone through these multiple times. Let's see what we can find in this one.
Но дом стоит справа, ты сейчас... Это улица Таганровская, Таганрог летит.
Thanks for the best content, Andrew. Peace for Ukraine. Thank you.
И рука, и ноги, и шея.
Так, подожди, на тебе.
We're gonna fast forward through that. Okay. Okay, we're done. There's just dead bodies there at the end. So dead. There are definitely dead soldiers there in the video. Unclear. I'm not really gonna analyze that if it is the Azov battalion, but share that into the not safe for work NSFW. I'm about to share it there into that channel. Try to keep the graphic videos in the graphic video channel or the graphic video queue on our Discord server. All right, is there anything else here in Reddit for Ukraine war video report? How do I don't even know how Reddit works, dude.
Мы наблюдаем с представителями ОБСЕ.
Sleeping very precise shots by you. Oh wow. Very precise shots by Ukrainian artillery. Probably gonna be music on this thing. Nope. This was just posted 4 hours ago. Those are the O. They have the O identifier. I think those are the Belarus units that were up in the north region of Kyiv. Really clear images. Tracer rounds. Wow. Oh wow. Oh my goodness. These are Russian vehicles and soldiers getting hit by artillery. Oh, is Belarus. Thank you, 907. No audio to this clip. Azovstal steel plant. Are some of these legitimate though? Azovstal steel plant, a stronghold in Mariupol. See what this video is about. The only thing I need to dive into Reddit a little more. I don't even have an account. This is where the video we watched about the Trostianets report came from, so audio is really quiet. There wasn't any audio in the last video. Wow. Oh my god, dude. Yo, me personally, I'd have a tough time underneath in a fallout shelter like this. This is like back rooms right here for sure. Looks like a imagine being there. Oh my goodness, this is a liminal space for sure. Oh my my goodness. Well, let's just watch one more time on this one. Just this is their indicator, so all the watermarks on the screen are accurate to the Azov what they use. This is what their underground tunnels look like. I've been waiting for video on what this looks like here. And this is where hundreds of civilians, there's a couple military units under there, including the Azov battalion. But they're in the Azovstal steel and iron factory. Russian forces have completely taken over the entire city of Mariupol except for the Azovstal steel factory. And then there are, again, civilians and military under there still. I couldn't do it. Oh, even just that. I mean, I couldn't do it. Imagine the kids that got to be under there too, and the bravery of the children that are under there. Happy Orthodox Easter, if you celebrate. It is Orthodox Easter today, I believe. Orthodox Easter Sunday. No, I couldn't. That's the underground tunnel system of the Azovstal steel and iron factory that the civilians are taking refuge under. Let's see if there's any updates from John, or watch the latest. Gotta watch the Zelensky press conference. We have that. Here's day 59. We missed day 58. Let's look at the day 58 update because we missed it. So day 58, and then day 59, and then just any other videos too. Spam the orange hats in the chat.
Kyiv Diary, day 58 of Vladimir Putin's war. I mean, how can I put this? It's the air raid siren all over again. Is there a phrase in the English language can sum up what I think about the President of Russia? What? Let me think. Are there some words that are the best possible phrase at this moment when this city is under attack? I remember Vladimir Putin. Do fuck off.
It's from John, this day 58. Old message for Vladimir Putin still stands.
I've got a pretty simple message for Vladimir Putin. And it goes like this. Dear Mr. Putin, do fuck off.
Alright. Yet another message for Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, are you listening to me? I mean, are you listening to me, Mr. Putin? Do you get it? Do you get it? Okay, I'm going to say it once more in English. Mr. Putin, do fuck off. Love from Kyiv to everybody else, but to the President of the Russian Federation, once again, do fuck off.
All right, Kyiv Diary Day 59. This is today or yesterday. Well, Saturday's update. So what would be today's update? Yesterday. It's already Sunday in Ukraine. So day 59. Video of children under siege in Mariupol. Stop this evil.
Vladimir Putin's war. The electricity is still on. I'm still wearing my lucky orange hat. Videos come out of kids in the basement of Mariupol. Soldiers walk down a step of stairs, then another step of stairs, another step of stairs, deep series of guards, and a steel door opens. And then the most awful thing is there's a bunch of kids, maybe 20 or so, from really quite little, 3 or 4, to 15, 16, but most of them seem like 10, 11, 12. These are the kids, I think, of steel workers who got trapped and who are now living in a deep hole in the ground in fear of the Russian army. And one of the kids says, I want to see the sun. Now this video, it's real. All of the children, their faces are identifiable. And that should be a way of protecting them. The government of Russia should give these children safe passage to Ukraine. Free Ukraine. And there ought to be the 2022 system whereby this can happen. Once again, Vladimir Putin sits at the top of a fascist ziggurat, but his power is supported by enablers in the West, by people who make money out of Russian oil and gas, by people who work in law firms in London and New York, in Paris and Rome. And all these people should be ashamed of taking Moscow gold, doing anything, whatever they do that helps Russia, helps Putin. It's evil. We've got to stop this. Love from Kyiv.
John updates. Talking on Putin, the podcast about what makes Putin do the thing he does, from Chechnya in 2000. War crime after war crime.
Here Mr. Putin is treated like an emperor. I wanted to challenge him about his absolute denial of involvement in the war. Mr. Putin, John Sweeney from the BBC. I'd like to ask you a question about the war, sir. I'm sorry, sir, the killings in the Ukraine. Thousands of dead. Ukrainians, Russians, Malaysians, British, Dutch. So, sir, do you regret the killings in the Ukraine? I find Putin strangely effeminate, a chameleon. My name's John Sweeney, and I'm an old-school reporter, and I'm making a podcast called Taking on Putin. He starts out a poor boy in Leningrad with a thing about killing rats. The best way of doing that is rat poison. Perhaps that might explain why so many of his enemies get poisoned. Yuri Shekharchikin, poisoned. Roman Serpov, poisoned. Anna Politkovskaya, poisoned, later shot. Alexander Litvinenko, poisoned. Sergei Skripal, poisoned. Alexei Navalny, poisoned, now in jail. I first called Putin a war criminal 22 years ago, after I'd seen his war crimes in Chechnya. And now, in Ukraine, in 2022, I'm seeing the same thing on repeat. War crime after war crime after war crime. Listen out for Taking on Putin on all major podcast platforms.
That's his Talking on Putin podcast. Kyiv Diary, this was 9 hours ago from Buena Vista with crazy Finnish guy doing good work in Ukraine.
Kyiv Diary Day, blah, blah, blah.
The water is still on, the internet is still on, the electricity is still on.
And there are no Russian tanks in the Buena Vista.
There are no Russian tanks, but there's a lot of beer in here.
And here's a simple message to Vladimir Putin. You fuck off! Love from Kyiv.
Love from Kyiv.
Oh, and look at that. Hey. Whatever that is. Keep
All right, from the Buena Vista with the crazy Finnish guy. Oh, what are we gonna do next? This one. People of Mariupol, what's going on in the city? Again, this is Mariupol. It's majority taken over by Russia, minus the Azovstal steel plant. On Reddit here.
Во дворах одни могилы и кресты стоят. Все.
Take a moment and like the video on the stream. We're at 554 likes. There's over 1,100 tuned in. Welcome again. I'm Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media. Independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. Go ahead and comment. Shout out to our veteran community. If you served in the military, of any armed forces, let us know your MOS, your branch, and thank you for your service. Shout out to our veteran community. People of Mariupol.
Мариуполя нету. Во дворах одни могилы и кресты стоят. Все. Не думали свидеться. Там страшное творилось, там не расскажешь просто так. Там кацапы убивают людей ни за что. Если мир не примет меры, Запорожье ожидает то же самое. Что-то надо предпринимать. И немедленно. Мы вырвались чудом оттуда, из этого ада. Привозили эти кацапы гуманитарную помощь, давали. Литра молока на 49 человек, 1,5 литра воды на 10 человек. Буханка хлеба, я не помню тоже сколько, на 40 человек. Вот такое давали.
Во дворе маленькое кладбище есть. Воронка. 7 человек похоронено. Вчера выезжали. От 9-этажки осталась только яма. И все. Все подъезды разрушены, и все поразрушено. Что? С женой, с тестем, в основном в подвале жили. Потом поднялись наверх, когда стали тише стрелять. То есть, когда стреляли по нам, мы жили в подвале, когда уже от нас стреляли по заводу, стали жить.
Тобто ситуації насправді по кожному району, навіть не по кожному району, мабуть, по кожному мікрорайону абсолютно різні. Але вони всі дуже тяжкі. Це дуже важко, коли ти бачиш, як твоє місто, яке при тобі воно будується, при тобі воно відновлюється, стає гарнішим і гарнішим, і воно ставало буквально. І воно при тобі просто вмирає.
That's Mariupol. More Ukraine war report. Position unmasking by Ukrainian forces.
Открывайте. Доброго вечора, ми з України.
Oh wow. Right under the tree. What do we got here now? Fantasy on Russian TV about how Russia would invade the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania.
Может выглядеть сценарий по, собственно, захвату Прибалтики. Наносится массированный российский радиоэлектронный удар, включаются все средства радиоэлектронного подавления Западного военного округа, Балтийского флота. Радары натовские слепнут, ничего не видят. В это время на территории шведского острова Готланд. Видит и не знает. Запад гадает, почему мы не видим. Именно с территории Западного военного округа входят контингенты в
Same time, military groups enter Estonia, so they're laying out plans on Russian state media for the seizure of the other Baltic states.
В момент выключаются средства радиоэлектронного подавления, и изумленный Запад и НАТО узнают о том, что Россия объявила бесполетную зону радиусом 400 километров вокруг острова Готланд.
No-fly zone with the rate, so they're just laying out their plans to take the other Baltic states on their state media.
Neutral territory. Do you acknowledge the risks and the threats of yours for you? Thank you so much for this question, or for these questions. As for Russian Federation and the negotiations, I've insisted since the very beginning to have negotiations with the leader of the Russian Federation, because I consider that any formats of the meetings through the mediators with Russia, or just to giving this or that information to the leader of Russian Federation through the friendly countries, will not give the desired effect. I consider this war can be stopped by the one who began it. Do you hear us? This is the last train, the last one. Oh no, God forbid that it's the last one. Just for today, right? Let's listen to the underground. So, instantly, this is the answer about the attempted murders. I am not that afraid of that. My guards are afraid of that. I am not the one who's afraid, and my family is afraid of the attempted murders. Just to be really sincere. As for the topic of the meeting with the President of Russia, yes, I would like to stop, to finalize the war. There is the diplomatic way and there is the military way. So any healthy and sane person always chooses diplomatic way, because he or she knows that even if it's hard, it may stop the losses of thousands, of tens of thousands, and with such neighbors, hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of victims. Losses of people. We don't want that. And any leader, whether he wants that or not, he doesn't have the right to deny subjectively, because it would be a subjective decision to deny the diplomatic way. And it's also important for our partners, I may say, because we're speaking about that and made certain steps for the diplomatic solution of the military conflict and the war with Russian Federation. Our partners, both European and the partners from beyond the ocean, the United States, Canada, everybody sees that what Russia says and was saying during all these times, that Ukraine itself doesn't want to sit at the negotiations table and end the war. Everybody could see that it was the kind of a piling up effect. And now, if we manage to do that, our trust, the trust for our partners to us is the highest level. But there is no trust to Russia. Those are not synonyms, those are antonyms, Russia and trust, because they're just saying something and their words do not coincide with actions. And what about the security issues? Yes, security issues. Just a second. So I don't remember the second part of your question. I'm not afraid of meeting with the president. If you're about the attempted murders, let's wait a bit.
Well,
I don't have the right to be afraid.
Боятись я не маю права, тому
I
що
don't have the right to be afraid because our people showed that they are not afraid of anything. They are afraid for their children, that's true. People were stopping tanks with their bare hands and other Russian military armament, as well as our armed forces of Ukraine did, as well as our National Guard did.
заходів безпеки вам не
There are
здається?
lots of security measures here, doesn't it seem to you? Well, but you will still know that you're in safety now.
І тому нормальний лідер
That is why a sane and normal leader
не має права
doesn't have the right to be afraid when we are speaking about the state and about our independence. Thank you.
Дякую, CGT.
Thank you. CGTM, right? If I pronounce the fourth row, please.
Так, CGTN.
Yes.
So this was some of the press conference. I'm not going to play all of it because it's like 2 hours long, but we're just listening to some of the beginning of it. The President Volodymyr Zelenskyy's news conference in the subway system.
CGTN.
Пане президенте,
Mr. President,
підкреслювали вже
you've
вашу
emphasized already your readiness of the peaceful negotiations with Russia.
генеральний секретар.
And the Secretary General of the UN is planning to visit Moscow and Kyiv. We've also heard that the United States and the allies are sending arms and weapons. How can this weapon come to Ukraine? And simultaneously, Moscow says that you go on asking for military help and support from the NATO member countries, that this help won't help the peaceful negotiations. Could you comment on that? Could you repeat the beginning of your question?
Adam says the West has definitely been trying to spread Western NATO US ideologies in the ex-USSR countries, and this has certainly been a growing factor in Putin's actions, but in no way justifies them. True, but I also feel some of these Baltic states that have joined NATO have done it on their own, like they want to, like Ukraine. Ukraine wants independence, and Russia's like threatening that they're trying to join any Western Union or the EU, NATO, and as soon as they started to do that, that's when Russia increased their stronghold on them and then invaded.
Від самого початку, якщо можна. Так.
From the very beginning, if you can. Yes, sure. You speaking about your
How is this fabricated, Shandeep? Explain your position.
readiness for the peaceful negotiations with Russia. We know that the UN Secretary General will come to Kyiv and Moscow and will be speaking about the peaceful negotiations. And they say that the United States and the alliance are providing weapons to your country. But Moscow is saying that your permanent requests of weapons only add fire to this situation, and this is only interfering the negotiations process. Well, thank you for the question. Of course, we will meet the Secretary General, who will come to us. We'll communicate with him. It seems to me that we have done lots of steps for his position also to change, and his position to be strong enough as for the support of Ukraine. I had several personal meetings with him, and I am rather firm saying that you cannot balance between Ukraine and Russia. We are expecting for 100% support from the UN Secretary General, 100%, because 100% of truth is on our side and the war is taking place here. So I think that after the arrival, and if the Secretary General has time, I think that he has a very respectful status. He should definitely visit first the cities where there were tortures and where people were killed, and then he will find time for the esteemed and respectful colleagues from Russia. It's important for him to understand what's happening here, to have a very precise perspective, which the Secretary General can bring and deliver to Moscow, meeting with the president of the state. Because if we just come to Kyiv and communicate, it's not enough. So I consider that, first of all, you need to understand what is taking place here. That is why lots of leaders, both like Chancellor of Austria, I always offered, if they go to Russia, to Moscow, first you should understand what is happening here. If you're speaking really about the help and support, not about political tourism. So I think he will see it here, and his opinion about Ukraine will be even stronger. As for the weapon delivery to Ukraine, weapon supply, we are definitely not interested in the opinion of Russian Federation, though they, since the beginning of war, were delivering it as well. You do
50% so far in the chat. 50% believe, how will this war be stopped? Please vote in our poll. Stopping Putin directly, diplomatic, military, and then unsure. Have you heard anything about Putin seeing a cancer doctor for at least the last 6 months? I have not, Nora, but he hasn't looked well at all. Then we have a PayPal from Tara. Thank you so much for that, Tara. We have a Cash App from Laura. Thank you so much, Laura. And then we have a PayPal from Carol. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
remember the full-scale invasion, how they were fleeing, leaving the tanks. We are grateful for
Putin's hand he was holding the desk. He was gripping it very tight so you wouldn't see his hand shake. So
those deliveries. Thank you.
He's definitely not healthy.
Okay, NV, please. In the end, over there. Volodymyr Alexandrovich, in several days, on the 27th of April, the Russians are announcing that they plan to conduct a pseudo-referendum in Kherson. We know, according to the experience of 2014, how it took place in Donbass. It doesn't matter how many people will come. They will just invent any result which they need. What will Ukraine do if this pseudo-referendum takes place? If they announce a so-called Kherson's People's Republic, what will it mean for our negotiations? Because the people in Kherson are pro-Ukrainian, and they don't know what will happen after that. What will Ukraine do with that? Thank you for your question.
How do you get an orange hat? You gotta become a member of the channel for that emoji.
If our people are killed in Mariupol, if they announce referendum, pseudo-referendum in the new pseudo-republics, Ukraine will not take part in any negotiation processes. But our people, who are now located in the temporarily occupied territories in Kherson, I emphasize again, not only in Kherson, in the region, and there are lots of settlements in Zaporizhia region as well, unfortunately, and in the east of our state, they need to know, and they needn't to help the occupiers. I was speaking to our people about that. We know through our intelligence and through the people who are living there. I cannot say that they have the pro-Ukrainian position. They have Ukrainian position. They are Ukrainians. They are speaking about those facts. They discuss, they go through the apartments and collect the data. So I think it won't be useful for the diplomatic settlement of this situation. Definitely it will interfere the end of war in the diplomatic way. Definitely this is the wrong step from Russia. It witnesses that everything which used to be before that, all of the meetings of the diplomatic groups, all of that was just fiction and a political theater, by the way, with really bad actors. Please, Imedi, Georgia, right? The fourth row, please.
Thank you.
Дякую, пане президенте.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a citizen of Georgia, as a journalist, I would like to thank you because we, the Georgians, consider that your fight is our fight and your victory will be really important, both for our country as well. I would like to ask you now, here are, in Ukraine, there are our soldiers, Georgians, who are helping to fight for democracy.
наші
Hey, we're at the 2-hour mark, y'all. Comment where you guys are tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world you guys are watching from. Again, I'm your host of this coverage, Andrew Mercado, just compiling the news stories of the day and going through anything we can learn to expand upon our understanding of this war. We've been covering it since day one, watching CCTV live feeds. We've been watching live feeds in Kyiv. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those anymore, so we're just watching reports and video clips through the day, and we have sources that we trust, and we still got to watch Rob from Speak the Truth. But let me know where you guys are watching from, what city, what state. If you guys are watching from the United States, if you're watching from around the world, shout out what country you're watching from. Thank you again for choosing independent media and Mercado media. I'm a veteran. I served in the U.S. Army from 2012 to 2020, so I have a little bit of understanding in military tactics, base level. I wasn't combat arms by any means, but I mean, we were definitely taught in the United States Army way more than the Russian military knows, even at a non-combat level. So just comment where you guys are tuned in from. Again, thank you for choosing independent media. Buffalo, New York, Chi-Town's tuned in. Welcome. How y'all doing? Eastern New York's tuned in. Lawrenceville, North Carolina. Brisbane, Australia. Berkeley, California. Welcome. St. Paul, Ireland. Tacoma, Washington. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Eastern New York. Tulsa, Oklahoma. How you guys doing? Carbon Hill, Alabama. Chicago's tuned in. Jefferson, Texas. Racine, Wisconsin. All right.
Think about our perspective in the European Union. How do you see friendly relations with Georgia? The Georgians are really worried because of some of the details. When will you be able to bring the ambassador of Ukraine to Georgia? Because you know that there are lots of Russian impact onto Georgia. Yes, thank you for the question. From the friendly Georgia. I think that really one of the closest peoples to Ukraine, to Ukrainian people, are the Georgians. Beginning with, well, historically and since the first revolution, we have seen such a huge and significant support. Well, you know, and even now, when we did not understand, I will be frank. In fact, I can be sincere with the Georgians because we are really brotherly nations. I do not understand the position of the leaders of your state. I do not understand it. And that is why it is so painful for me to perceive it. I think it's not worth it. What they are doing. If they don't introduce sanctions, those are just pennies, those are kopecks. In the story, in the history of two states, in the history of such neighborhood, in spite of the number of kilometers, we are neighbors. You are much closer than we are with Russia. You can see we are at war with Russia, and we definitely don't want any conflicts with Georgia, and I'm sure they will never take place. And Georgia now went out to the streets, to the rallies. The whole city of Tbilisi supported us. So,
all right, we're gonna take a break from this. I've been having so many recommendations to check out Bo of the Fifth Column, and this video was shared into our Discord server to watch for the stream. So let's see what this is about. Let's talk about why parts of the right are supporting Russia.
Well, howdy there, Internet.
All right, back up.
People, it's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about,
this is for Sean Deep,
why some people still believe that everything is going according to plan, that Russia's doing just fine over there, and that's what they want to do, and that's how things are supposed to be going, and they're just repeating that line. And why those people are doing that, and some even suggesting that the United States is next. I got this message. I have a question for you. I watch a lot of American YouTubers. I see some of the far right and far left both repeating the lie that everything is going according to plan. Even after Putin spent days saying the people at the steel plant had to surrender or else, and then suddenly changing his mind about attacking. If he really was trying to get rid of the far right in Ukraine, wouldn't that be the most important battle? Yeah, I mean, it would. That's kind of where they're all at. But they still accept his lies and repeat his lies. I watched your video explaining why some who link Russia to the USSR on the left believe it, or at least want to believe it.
Sky God says, thanks for the coverage. Let's get the super chats rolling. Thanks, Sky God. And then Cool Roy says, I bet you had to DX many batteries in Alaska. I went through a couple batteries. Yeah, I definitely did. I had to plug my truck in, my old one. I had a cord hanging out.
But why do the right-wing survival channels also repeat these claims? They say Russia is winning and that the U.S. could be next. Because they got to keep the dream alive. Most of those channels aren't really survival channels. They don't sell information about survival. They sell fear. The whole idea of this is that some of them probably know that if they admit that Russia is doing as poorly as it is, it will set their audience's mind at ease. And they don't want that. That's not profitable to them. If they acknowledge that a country they've been building up as a possible invasion force to the United States can't take control of Ukraine, A, their audience will relax, and B, they're going to look silly. They have to keep that dream alive.
They're selling fear in products. Fear in products.
It is like super hard.
Merchandise.
To sell your channel's branded buckets of freeze-dried food.
Oh, yeah.
Without some huge enemy.
Fact.
That's the main reason. The reality is Russia can't. Russia can't, even in peak condition. Russia does not pose a threat to the United States as far as invasion. That's silly. We've gone over the numbers required to occupy areas over and over and over again on this channel because stuff like this keeps coming up. I'm not going to break out the whiteboard and do all the math again, but the U.S. has more than 300 million people in it. Russia, if they mobilized the 2 million reservists they had and used every single active duty member of the armed forces, to include pulling people off of boats and out of planes, and put them all as boots on the ground in the United States, somehow, without taking a single casualty, they would almost have about like 40% of what they need. It's not going to happen. They don't have the troops. And understand those ratios of how many troops you need per inhabitants, those are based on the inhabitants being in a relatively small area, not spread across a country the size of the United States. They're also based on the idea of light resistance, not invading a country that has more guns than people. It's not a thing. Russia's not going to invade the United States, not anytime soon. A whole lot of things have to shift in the balance of power for that to occur. There's really only one country that can field a military large enough to do this, and that's China. And they have absolutely no interest in occupying the United States. Aside from that, there's also one other thing. This isn't World War II. How are you going to get them there? How are you going to get the troops from China or Russia or from wherever to here?
Good point.
The second the fleet moves, every country on the planet is going to know
This is Bo of the Fifth Column. I've had a few, like for weeks now, people have been recommending. And someone finally shared a video to my Discord server, so we're checking it out. Bo of the Fifth Column, let's talk about why parts of the right are supporting Russia. I believe he is actually conservative as well, too.
There's no surprise. You can't airdrop millions of troops.
I find that the people that have the best content are able to look within, but still, you know what I mean, still are able to argue their position.
But they can't say this. They have to keep that dream alive. They have to keep their audience scared. They have to make up stuff about Russian troops operating under the UN or whatever, and how they're going to invade the U.S. They don't have the numbers. It's not a real thing. But that doesn't sell channels like that.
Mm.
They don't want to admit they were wrong in their early assessments, and they want to keep that fear.
He's more libertarian? Okay. I gotta check him out more. This is my first video. I gotta check him out more.
They don't want to admit they were wrong in their early assessments, and they want to...
I'll check him out more and give a better assessment. I just saw a couple comments. That was based on my information off comments, but I'll check him out. He's more of a center left. Okay. I'll check him out. Moderate left. All right.
That doesn't sell channels like that. They don't want to admit they were wrong in their early assessments, and they want to keep that fear present. That's it. The days of having to worry about somebody invading the United States, those are long gone. The fleets can't move. There's no way to do it by air with the troops that you need. It's just not a thing, especially with the U.S. military's current posture and the total information awareness they've obtained when you're talking about fleets moving and stuff like that. It's just not a thing. But they have to repeat it. They have to keep that fear up, otherwise those channels won't exist. That's what they sell, more than the freeze-dried food. That's what they sell. They sell fear. Rather than taking the time to educate their audience on how to prepare for stuff that might actually happen, like climate change.
Mm.
But doing stuff to get ready for that, well, that doesn't involve a plate carrier and a rifle. That's not cool. It doesn't give people an excuse to fantasize about the worst. That's the reason. It's not profitable to tell the truth in that case. Not for them.
Well, nothing he said there was wrong. I'll check him out more. It's the first video I've seen about him. I'll do my own watching of videos. But they said nothing wrong there. Making profit off of fear mongering, and then you get to keep your people keep making money off of your communities. All right, let's do Speak the Truth. Rob. I'll definitely check him out more. Covert Ukrainian operators assault deep into Russian-held territory. Rob Turkla from Speak the Truth.
How are you guys doing? Welcome over here to the channel. If you guys are new, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go ahead and try to slow down how fast I talk. I realize there's a lot of people that don't have English as their first language, and they're trying to keep up with me, who sounds like I'm an auctioneer at times. Sometimes I get a little overly excited, and I just start talking really quick. So my apologies to some of y'all out there. I do read the comments. If you guys are one of the members and one of the supporters of the channel, I want to say thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you guys would like to join, you can click right underneath the video. It says join. A lot of these videos we make are not possibly early access. You guys, I'll answer all the comments that come through. You get a little icon next to your name. It says you're a supporter. So thank you so much to all of y'all. And here we go. There's a lot going on. We're going to be doing a lot of map stuff today. All right, so here is my map out the gate. If you guys don't know, red, Russia, blue, Ukraine.
By the way, I do that on Facebook. Would you guys that are members of the channel be interested in doing like Q&As on the channel here? Let me know in the chat, like member-only Q&A talks where we just chat. Let me know.
Ukraine, black lines are going to be your logistical routes. There's a lot been going on inside of this entire northeast region that they're fighting in. But out the gate, Ukrainian military intelligence is now reporting that 2 more Russian generals have been killed, and 1 was wounded in a strike on a Russian command post near Kherson. I don't know how truthful this is. This is coming, of course, from the Ukrainian intelligence. I'm not saying it's not truthful or they're lying, but it is coming from the opposing force, so we'll wait for it to be confirmed. But if it is confirmed, it would bring the death toll of Russian generals killed in Ukraine in the last 2 months to 9. That is fairly high. That's really high. And Russian state media is now accusing Poland of being involved in the creation of bioweapons inside of Ukraine. So this is pretty much just another, they're just trying to get another opportunity to actually blame Poland for something to give them cause to strike Poland if that ever were to happen.
Let's check on that really quick. That's on my mind, because some things do slip my mind. I don't have like a script for this type of stuff, chat. It's really off the cuff, and I just base off the news stories of the day. Finland, Sweden, NATO. 1 day ago. Finnish and Swedish lawmakers aim for NATO membership. It's getting closer. April 22nd, this is the latest and greatest. Finnish and Swedish opposition leaders traveled to Washington this week to meet with U.S. officials as their countries kickstart debates on joining NATO in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Petteri Orpo, the chair of Finland's center-right National Coalition Party, and Ulf Kristersson, the leader of the opposition in Sweden's parliament and head of the country's moderate party, met with senior Biden administration officials and congressional staffers during their visit to push for swift U.S. support for expanding NATO should both Finland and Sweden formally make bids to join the alliance. The prospect of the two Nordic countries joining NATO represents a significant shift in their foreign policies after decades of military non-alignment, spurred by Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to launch a full-scale military invasion of Ukraine. In an interview with Foreign Policy, Orpo said it's clear that Finland's parliament will decide to apply to join NATO within the next month. And that's wild that it's Finland that's leading the charge too, because Finland's been more traditionally against NATO than Sweden. Again, Sweden and Finland are like this, right, with their non-military pact. This is historic here. Orpo and Kristersson's parties have both advocated for their countries to join NATO for more than a decade, but that policy reform never gained traction due to widespread opposition from the public and or other political parties. That all changed after Putin's decision to invade Ukraine. In Finland, the debate changed after Russia's attacks against Ukraine almost in 1 day. Said Orpo, who previously served as deputy prime minister for 16 years, we have supported NATO membership and now it's possible thanks Putin. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, public support for NATO membership in Finland shot up from around 20% before the war to nearly 70%. And in Sweden, support for NATO membership reached a historic high of 57%. Both Finland and Sweden have rejoined other Western countries in sending military aid to Ukraine to help repel the Russian invasion and coordinated on devastating new international sanctions against Moscow. Kristersson said he wants to cooperate closely with the ruling center-left Swedish Social Democratic Party on applying for NATO membership ahead of the country's upcoming general elections in September, but he will push for it regardless of what the Social Democrats ultimately decide. Oh, thank goodness. Adding a new member to NATO requires unanimous consent from all current 30 NATO members. In the United States, this requires treaty ratification in the Senate. 8 separate U.S. and European officials told Foreign Policy they are confident that every NATO member is widely supportive of adding Finland and Sweden to the alliance's ranks, and none would oppose the move. Most expect Finland's parliament to vote to approve NATO membership by mid-May, and Sweden to announce its decision by the end of May. Mid-May and end of May. You got to remember, the 9th of May is Russia's Victory Day from World War II. NATO is expected to make the formal announcement on both countries joining the upcoming summit in Madrid in June. May is going to be a busy month. May is going to be a busy month from this war. Let's continue. Again, Rob Turkle, speak the truth.
So that's just another thing to add to the list. I've also seen Russian sources getting super excited over capturing these American-made radio equipments. Literally, I'm just going to show you guys them on screen. So these images you're currently seeing are the ones I am talking about. And you would think that they're getting so excited about these, you would think they had struck gold. I mean, these Russian sources clearly don't really understand what they're looking at. The main problem is they're literally useless without a fill. And if he doesn't know what a fill is, it's literally an encryption that's put inside the radios for all those radios can talk under this one encryption code. Okay. But anyway, little do they know, the encryption within the radios can be changed within seconds across the entire
Welcome Ann to the channel. Thank you so much for joining.
Entire country, and the radios are literally useless. The ones that they have are useless. So now that Ukraine knows that they have some of these radios, all they're going to do is change the fill in all the radios across the nation, and now they can't be used. So all they have is really heavy paperweights. So that is actually going to be it when it comes to the news piece of this segment, I guess you would say. But the Russian military has actually been shelling the town of Odessa. So we're going to go ahead and move a little bit north here, because there's an area that hasn't been really talked about very much. And here it is. So I did speak about this the other day, that the Russians were claiming that Ukrainians had actually made an assault near the border. Now, what we were talking about the other day was roughly about right here. Now, as you guys can tell, up here in the area of Udi, okay, now the Russian-controlled area as of 24 hours ago was roughly somewhat like this, okay? So the Ukrainian forces have actually pushed back the Russians this much over the last 24 hours, literally. Not even kidding. Which is kind of a big deal because if they're shelling the town of Udi, which is clear indication that is now under Ukrainian control, Ukrainian troops are actually slowly moving along the Russian border. An assaulting element is seizing more and more occupied ground. Like I said, this is the area that was controlled over the last 24 hours, has been taken back. So I know we talked about that element that had moved a little bit north. This could have been the element that they're talking about. Okay, so they literally are taking back ground, and it looks like they're pinching off. These are the troops that are actually on this northwestern side of Kyiv. Because if you just look a little bit south of that, they've actually, this is kind of crazy. Let me switch over to my other more detailed map. So if you look a little bit south, you guys can actually see that they have liberated 3 more towns out of Durachi. So they actually moved out of Durachi and moved north. That is the Ukrainian forces. So they're now sitting all the way up here in Prudyanka. So if you look at it from a more outer perspective, I guess, from this mapping, they actually look like they're pinching off this force right through here, which is a pretty big deal because then there's this main route that comes in right here. This is pretty big. Imagine if the Ukrainians are able to actually push back the Russian forces on this northern side of Kyiv all the way back to the Russian border. So this is what they've held Durachi for the last 2 weeks, and they've actually started moving an assaulting element out of here, which is, I believe, to be a big deal. So since there hasn't been much movement by the Russians within this AO, if you guys don't know what that means, area of operations, for those who don't know, I'm going to give you guys kind of a different idea, tell you what I believe is going to happen. For one, there's a lot of people that may not realize this, but it's fairly wet and fairly rainy for the past 4 days in the eastern side of Ukraine, which may hinder the Russians from actually doing their major offensive, okay? So that is one thing to keep note of. This entire side of the country, it's been pretty wet and damp. This is their rainy season, so they can't move their heavy equipment along, well, any other route that's not a hardball road, like a 2-lane or a 4-lane road or 1-lane. You get what I'm saying? So they can't just go drive off in a farm field anywhere. Like that, they're just going to get stuck, all right? And another thing, they haven't made any offensive inside of Kyiv in the last 72 hours. All they've done is shell the city in hopes to actually keep Ukrainian positions fixed, which we know has not panned out too well on the northern side. So they have actually been pushing out of Kyiv. We know over the last week or so, 2 weeks or so. So I can draw this up real quick. So that was controlled by the Russians. This was also controlled by the Russians. And this whole area was controlled by the Russians. So in the last 2 weeks, Ukrainian forces have actually been on the offensive over here in Kyiv because I believe a lot of their men, as we do know, has been pushed over there to the eastern side of the country. With that being said, Ukrainians will actually go on the offensive, I believe, inside this area to try and secure a couple more decisive areas inside this AO. Now, these blue lines you are seeing are not stuff that they've done yet. I've added these on here because I believe that's what they're going to do when they're trying to continue to push. We know that they're going up here. They're already pinching off up here. That is something that's very evident. That's happening right now. I believe this element that's over here inside of this area, by the way, all this cleared out white space is not 100% controlled by Ukrainians. That is just an area that's kind of in between. There might be a forward element for Ukrainians here, and there might be a forward element for the Russians right here. I'm not exactly sure, so I'm not really going to give anybody the gain right there. But with that being said, I do believe that the Ukrainians are going to push up north right here, as I have indicated, and they're going to take the town of...
What a stressful ending to the Timberwolves game. I've seen the updates.
Vovchansk. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to take it, but that could be one of the goals. As you can tell, it's one of the main routes. Well, it's got main routes coming in and out of it, which is pretty crucial. And then also Velky Burlak over here. So they do control the town of Peshniv. Now, I'm just saying that I believe that the Russians actually did a tactical exfil and pull back across this bridge. So I do believe that's what happened. And then the other element is going to move more southeasternly towards Kupiansk. And all I believe they're going to do is hit these logistical routes coming in and out of Kupiansk. I think that's going to be their main goal. They do a phenomenal job, that is the Ukrainians, on ambushes. They've done a phenomenal job setting up IEDs. Well, if you guys don't know what that is, improvised explosive devices. They use them against us, not them, but Afghanistan and Iraq, it was used against us significantly. They're extremely effective. And I believe that is something they're going to utilize here on these main routes coming in and out of Kupiansk. But if you guys didn't know, the only reason why I'm saying is because they've added 3 new brigades, I think roughly about 3 days ago, that came out of Sumy. into the Kharkiv area, and that's what's helping them being able to make these pushes. Now, my only concern would be for the Ukrainian forces. If you're on the Ukrainian forces side of things, I'm going to try to stay in the middle as much as I possibly can. So I don't really have a dog in the fight, but if I were to be honest with you, if you were on the Ukrainian side of things, your only main concern about this would be taking this approach that is spreading themselves a little bit too thin, leaving Kharkiv vulnerable, which then they can run all their operations out of these little small bases if they don't want to do that. So that's what I mean. If they're running small operations instead of pushing their entire forces, they may have like a forward operating base here and then another one down over here and then move out of there. You see what I mean? And run their operations out of those towns. That is something I could see also happening. So there's my two thought processes of what could be happening on the north side of Kharkiv over the next week or so, now that they have those new BTGs coming in. So we're going to pan out just a tad bit. So there has been heavy fighting down in Zarachny. So which is right here. I actually took off this area from being controlled by the Russian forces because it's not. But I have annotated and added, as you could tell, the new area, which is right here. See this new area I've added? That new area is now controlled by the Russian forces, and they are coming in pretty hot in Zarachny, and they have been hitting Lyman, as you guys see right here, with artillery strikes and missiles and such over the last 12 hours. It's not even the last 12 hours, last 5 hours. They've been hitting it pretty hard. So that just shows you that they're going to continue their advancements down south to Sloviansk, and they're going to move these men through here. So that is something that is going on right now as I'm making this video. So there's an estimated 25 BTGs worth of men, by the way, operating between Izium and okay, we got this. I got Popasna.
Finally.
I believe I got it there for you guys. It's not Pop Santa.
Yeah, you were saying Pop Santa for weeks. So like, come on.
Pozna. I think I got it. I feel good about that. I feel good about it. I think we got that word now. I don't know. Anyway, there's
I was saying Mariupol wrong for weeks too, though. So
25 BTGs worth of men between Izium. We're just gonna lightly circle it here, and Papaz. Damn it, Papanza. Papanza. Why is this one so difficult for me? Anyway, about roughly right there. So you're looking about 25 BTGs worth of men. Now, I believe one major
Thank you, Lisa.
factor why we haven't seen truly is weather. Weather. Lots of rain. Russia's inability to move or the heavy equipment on these hardball roads is the reason why I don't think we've seen the real offensive be pushed through. So it has now been said that there's going to be 25 BTGs worth of men operating between Izium and Popasna. I literally wrote it out, by the way, so everybody knows, Pop-Asna. So I'm trying to pronounce it correctly. Anyway, and I believe one of the major factors why we have not seen them push through any inside of this area, do a big major push, is due to weather. I'm telling you guys that right now. Honestly, I believe we have not seen the Russians push the way that they thought they were going to, just because the inability to maneuver heavy equipment on these or off these hardball roads is not going to be real. So there's 25 BTGs worth of men. Every single BTG is roughly about 700 to 1,000 men. It is believed that the Russians are amassing these men, and we know that there's at least 15 to 20 BTGs of men just literally right here. It is believed that 10 BTGs worth of men is going to push towards Sloviansk, and another 5 BTGs worth of men is going to push towards Lyman. Okay, I can see that being a thing. Now, I believe that the end goal is going to be them to cut off between Sloviansk and down to Popasna. I got it.
Popasna.
I think I got it. So I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll have to take note, and I think as it dries up and this rainy season starts to slow down, we're going to see that. I also believe that element of the Ukrainian troops, which has been pushed north, you guys do recall this. I'm going to go and clean this one up here for you guys. I had a group of Ukrainian forces that I thought had pushed forward and were kind of stuck in limbo up there. I believe they've actually
Listen, we have a chat of people of all beliefs and backgrounds. Some of them are toasty beliefs. All right? That's the point, though. We want a chat of people with all types of beliefs. We don't want an echo chamber. All right? Some people's opinions are going to be out there. It's part of it, okay? But I hope that's like the point, is you have a chat of all types of people. You'll be all right.
Pulled back. So this Ukrainian forces that was up there pulled back and has now started to set up positions inside of Lyman and actually start to fortify this area. So that is what's been going on. There is down here in Rubizine, it's been back and forth. Some people say now they control the north and the central portion. That is the Russians. So that's kind of a big deal. They are moving back. And I've also read a couple different reports that saying that the Ukrainian generals inside this area are actually okay with losing this area and actually pulling back their men and making a tactical withdrawal into Severodonetsk. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I'm just kind of laying it out for you guys. But we are going to move down to Mariupol. Go over my big map here. So if you guys are new, this is my bigger map as of right here. We're going to move a little bit south down to Mariupol, which is just this one little tiny area. I know it's a little blurry, so guess what? Did you all a favor? We got the up close and personal. So this is the updated map of what's going down inside of Mariupol. Try to clean it up as much as I possibly could for you guys. And we all know the Russians have claimed that they've taken control of Mariupol, but that's far from the actual case here. I'll tell you guys right now, the indications are there's at least a minimum of 1,500 Ukrainian troops still defending the steel plant down here, and there could be upwards of 5,000. And this thing literally runs 6 stories deep and can withstand a nuclear attack. The Kremlin has actually, of course, come out and decided not to assault this area and is going to try to starve out the population and just drop heavy bombs on the area. And oddly enough, the bombing route that they've been doing has actually been coming in like this and then dropping them roughly right here and then exfilling like this. That's pretty much the route they've been running over the last 2 days. The outer cordon, which we showed yesterday, is just basically filled with a bunch of men that don't know what they're doing. They have Mosin Nagants, and they're just sitting, just waiting. Anyway, but if these Ukrainians can actually hold out for a few more weeks, which would be absolutely insane if they could, they will actually mount up a significant amount of troops, or Russian troops that is, from being able to actually withdraw the city, and they're going to keep...
Thank you, Cool Roy, for that. Says, this is America. We have a right to disagree. This is not... I'm on point with you. Keep in mind that many people in the chat are not in America. All right, lots of people are. Hello from Sweden. Hello, Gerd, right there. Vitali's from Ukraine. There's plenty of people that aren't from America, but yes, try to keep it a chat full of people that have differing opinions for sure.
Keep them in the city and slow down their offensive in other parts of the country, which to me, somewhat ironic because. Putin does not want to waste his men, which I don't blame him. I mean, I thought that's what they probably should do. If I was on the Russian side of things, I would sit up an outer cordon and I would just completely shell it. Y'all
don't like Rob's Coors hat? All right. So if you don't know Rob, he was a sniper in the army. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to military tactics. Might not know what he's with his beer choices, but I don't drink beer anyways, so. Y'all are talking about Rob's Coors hat.
I'm not going to try to enter a building that's 6 stories deep and just continue to lose a bunch of men. Anyway, we're going to bounce out of this close map and go back to the bigger one. I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's been a lot going on in this southern line, I guess you would say. So down here was Mariupol. Now we're going to move a little bit north here. Tons been going on. Russian forces have actually launched a series of assaults on multiple towns at once, which I believe they're just trying to find a weak point on the lines to then advance north. As you can see right here, I've actually annotated every single one. Look at this. This whole entire area has not really had any, other than like little tiny ticks here and there, troops in combat, little tiny firefights. There hasn't been any major assault. But as of right now, look at all this. Every single one of these areas has been hit and has an actual advancement by the Russian forces being pushed on them right now. But down here in Tokmak, which is roughly, there's Tokmak right there. So there's Tokmak. So Tokmak, that's the area we're talking about. Go ahead and zoom out so you guys can see where that's at. There's actually a Ukrainian resistance that is claimed to have destroyed a Russian radar station inside of the town. We're going to slide over here to Mykolaiv. So Russians have actually continued to shell Mykolaiv overnight. And they've started to actually shell Odessa once again. I'm actually showing you, here's the image of them. This came in just a few minutes ago, and it's actually coming of a Russian cruise missile that hit a residential area inside of Odessa. It's now been claimed to have killed 3 civilians and wounding just over 20. And I've also read reports that the combat effectiveness of the Russian troops inside of Kherson is...
Paul, thank you for becoming a patron. Paul Pollock, thank you. Thank you for joining the Patreon.
Very limited. I know this sounds a little crazy, but it makes a little bit more sense as why we haven't seen them actually do a lot of advancements. And Ukrainian forces are actually gaining some ground in certain areas and pushing back into Kherson. This is also the area where those 2 generals were claimed to have been KIA here earlier today. But anyway, I've read a few reports saying the combat effectiveness of the Russian troops inside of Kherson is very, very, very limited. There's currently 8 to 10 BTGs worth of men north of the river. So you're looking at north of this river. So this entire area you're looking here. So here's the river. So all this area right here, there's about 8 to 10 BTGs worth of men, which only 4 BTGs apparently remain operable to even conduct any sort of mission. So they are cut down significantly. That's why we're not seeing them push a lot of men forward. And this would be a major reason why. We haven't seen any new ground taken inside this area by the Russians. That's my thought process. I think they're so worried and so concerned about taking Mariupol and taking this eastern side of the country that they're kind of just holding their ground. And if they do somehow take this side of the country over here, that's when they're going to push and be able to actually take this ground that they haven't. I don't think we're going to see a lot in Kherson. I think we're going to see a lot of Ukrainian advancement if they actually start doing pushing through.
They already failed once last week. The Russian forces attempted to push Mykolaiv from Kherson and failed miserably and then retreated. So likely not much going to be happening over here. They already tried. Other than artillery strikes on the civilian population, which we saw in Odessa earlier yesterday.
Anyway.
There it is.
And a lot of this intel is actually coming from unconfirmed reports. It's going to be unconfirmed, by the way. But it's coming from intercepted phone calls of Russian soldiers in the area that are stating that some of the BTGs have actually suffered more than 70% of losses in men and equipment. That is this area that I'm talking about with the X's, and that's why we haven't seen them push forward a lot. But anyway, these photos I'm actually going to show you guys right now actually bring me back to like my days as a sniper. It's kind of cool. I love seeing this kind of stuff. It lets you see some different kind of hide sites are set up in different kind of positions. I mean, you're looking at one is actually set up in more of like, it looks like
I thought this guy and a few others said Ukraine was going to win this war. I mean, they are. A lot of red. The red is to the east and to the south. So here's the whole country of Ukraine. There's the border, right? Lviv's over here. The Russian forces have control of the eastern region. And then the south, and then Crimea has been annexed since 2014. So this has been Russian controlled. This region here, Lugansk and Donetsk, have been in Russian control since 2014. So the only territory that they've really gained is north of Lugansk up towards Kharkiv. And that's even sus if they're going to hold that or not. And then the region north of Crimea. The territory that they tried to get up in the Kyiv Oblast, they failed miserably. They used to hold ground up here. If you were talking in the first week of this invasion, I would probably have agreed with you because it was looking, it wasn't looking good, and the enemy was literally at the gates inside of Kyiv. And then slowly but surely, Kyiv forces have pushed the Russian forces far away. And they're not even near Kyiv Oblast anymore. And now they're over and got pushed to the east. And they're staging in this region, which is what Rob is talking about. In the Donbass.
On top of a hilltop. I've done that a ton myself. And then a lot of the urban stuff is pretty crazy looking. So there's some of that urban than that guy out there in the middle of the field. But anyway, these are from the Ukrainian 28th Mechanized Brigade, which is on the outskirts right now of Kherson. So there's that. That's down inside this area. But anyway, watch Odessa, watch Kherson. I do know that they actually hit just outside of Sumy once again, got hit with a couple.
Yeah, we'll see that again. Vitaly's farm is very close to Russia's new eastern front. So here's in the Donbass region then. Workers in helmets and flak jackets go out to tend the crops. A missile landed in his field the other day. What did he do? Pulled it out with his tractor.
Resistance takes all kinds of forms in Ukraine, and on this farm, just 15 miles from the new...
Take a moment and like the video if you haven't. We got 1,200 tuned in right now and 709 likes. Welcome to Mercado Media. Again, I'm your host of this newscast, Andrew Mercado. Thank you again for choosing independent media as your source for Ukraine war information. Thank you.
Eastern front, there's a different kind of soldier. Resistance takes all kinds of forms in Ukraine, and on this farm, just 15 miles from the new Eastern Front, there's a different kind of soldier.
These are the famous tractors of Ukraine that have been such a big part of the war effort, and he actually now has to fortify this tractor in order just to do his job. Your tractor is your tank.
Sure, we're risking our lives, says Vitaly, but we have to...
Tractors in the chat.
...do it. His workers risk Russian shells as they go about their work.
We got a tractor report.
But they plow on.
So where did this land?
Vitaly shows me the kinds of dangers they face here.
So this missile landed in your field. It was nearby in a field, he says, very close to the farm. They attached the missile to the back of the tractor and just pulled it out of the field. This is only part of it, he says. The rest of it is in the ground. Russians are bombing your farm. Why are you still here? Well, first of all, I'm a patriot to my country, he says, and we're fighting on the second front line, the front line of supplying our country with food, with goods. Even when the shells come, I'll still be working, because that is my duty to my country. So are you not concerned that you're now a target for the Russians, if you're supplying the military? Well, yeah, I am concerned, and maybe I'm not a good shooter, but I'm good at growing wheat and planting sunflowers. What I can do, I'll keep doing it. Ukrainian Cossacks were our ancestors, he says. That's why it's in our blood to fight until the very last breath. It just tells you so much about...
He needs a bigger plate carrier.
It just tells you so much about Ukrainians just doing it for themselves. This guy
That's why they need more equipment. The territorial defense needs more equipment too. They need better stuff.
To his field and pulls a missile out of the ground. And what happens in this new eastern offensive matters far beyond these wide open plains. This is one of the reasons why there are such global consequences to this war. The eastern part of Ukraine is a massive industrial and agricultural hub, and so the fights in these fields will have a global impact. And as ever, there are regular Ukrainians right on the front line, this crater just meters from this couple's home. But somehow, they find a way to laugh. Are you ready to defend yourself? What will you do if Russian troops come to your village? Did you just say, I would bite them, but I don't have any teeth? How can you, I mean, you've got to have a sense of humor in a situation like this. We need to continue living. What else can we do? It's our land, and we have nowhere to go.
I would bite them, but I don't have any teeth. All right, let's check the latest. Again, guys, we're looking at videos and clips that are coming out from the war in Ukraine. Not really watch anything old if we can prevent it. Congratulations on the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, on Easter. At Easter, we ask God for great grace to make a great dream come true. This is another great day, a day when peace will come to Ukraine. It's Orthodox Easter in Ukraine.
Великий народе великої України. Сьогодні велике свято. І я знаходжуся у великому місці, Великому Софійському соборі. В соборі, що закладено 1000 років тому на полі священної битви, де військо Київської Русі України розгромило печенігів. В соборі, що не зруйнувала ні ординська навала, ні нацистська окупація, який вистояв попри все. Сьогодні всі ми віримо у нову перемогу України. І всі ми впевнені, що нас не знищить жодна орда і жодна нечисть. Ми долаємо темні часи, і оцей світлий день я і більшість з нас не у світлих одежах, але ми боремось за світлу ідею. На світлій стороні і на нашому боці правда, люди, Господь і вище небесне сяйво. Сила заступниці роду людського, Богородиця Аранти. Вона наді мною, вона над нами усіма. Непохитний стовп Церкви Христової, непорушний мур головної твердині Києва, нерушима стіна держави. Допоки є Оранта, є Софія, а з нею стоїть Київ, а з ними вся Україна. Над образом Оранти написані слова з книги Псалмів. Бог серед міста, і воно не похитнеться. Бог йому допоможе перед світанком. У цей великий день ми всі віримо, що наш світанок скоро настане. Оранта на латині означає «той, що молиться». Останні 2 місяці ми молимось всі. І у Воскресіння Христове, що символізує велику перемогу життя над смертю, кожен з нас просить у Господа одного і промовляє до неба однакові слова, слова великої і єдиної молитви. Боже великий, єдиний, нам Україну храни. Захисти тих, хто захищає нас.
It's part of a video. Let's see. Do this. Orthodox Easter. We could watch Catholic versus Orthodox. What's the difference between religions? This looks more of like a history version than
A guy and a girl meeting.
You may be wondering what the real difference is between. I don't want to make sure it's gonna like. Okay, let's see.
At school, they start up a conversation and the girl asks the guy, "What religion are you?" He replies, "Christian." She says, "Me too." That conversation has likely happened millions of times, since there are about 2.6 billion Christians on the planet. On top of that, the Center for the Study of Global Christianity said in 2021 that around the world there's something like 45,000 Christian denominations. Throughout history, there have been splits and more splits, with different churches believing different things. It would be an understatement to say it's complicated. So today we'll just concentrate on the one great big split and what happened after that. But first, let's get back to the start, and we don't mean God getting busy building the universe or Judas Iscariot giving his buddy away in the Garden of Gethsemane. What we mean is the church really started to have some legs, and that's when the problems started. After Jesus Christ died on the cross and was later resurrected, Christianity was rife throughout the Roman Empire, although there was a fair bit of persecution going on. Then in the year 313, Emperor Constantine made Christianity legal, and in 380 it became the state religion. The Catholic Church says it began with the teachings of Christ and all its disciples. Those guys spread the word, and today people still spread the word. There are people called bishops, and they're supposed to be like those old school disciples. In part, thanks to them, Christianity was soon everywhere. As the centuries passed, more churches started popping up, although they don't really become pervasive until the 11th century. That's when things really got heated. All you need to know is that Christianity spread over vast areas of the world, but the head guy, the Pope, was in Rome. Even so, many Christians weren't even close to Rome. They were spread over parts of Europe, parts of Asia, parts of Africa, and the Middle East. Those people were part of Eastern Christianity. But this only refers to geography, not beliefs and customs. Now, you need to understand two words, Catholic and Orthodox. Catholic actually comes from the word universal. So what it really means is universal Christianity. Orthodox relates to following the correct beliefs. So if you're Orthodox, you think you're just doing things the right way according to tradition and law. Of course, no religious person is going to say, I'm following the wrong beliefs. And no person is going to say, my religion is not a universal truth.
Okay, so it's just like, okay. So it's just people's different view of Orthodox and Catholic. All right. That's enough of that. Just wanted to understand the difference. Like, it's pretty much like different versions of Christianity. Not like different, like, in terms of the ideologies and belief systems laid out. All right. So that's what's going on today in Ukraine. And then any other countries, or if you celebrate Orthodox Easter, that's going on today and Sunday. Video Pacific Fleet Naval Infantry troops with T-80 BV tanks and an R-149 MA-1 command staff vehicle reportedly departing Mariupol.
Морпехи на Мариупольском направлении сделали свое дело. Теперь идут дальше.
All right, Mariupol. Continuing on. What is this here now? Bright, sincere, full of faith in victory, the faces of our defenders. We believe in warriors, we believe in the armed forces. Compilation of soldiers in Ukraine. Posted from the Defense of Ukraine account. It is now 8 a.m. and the sun has risen on the 60th day of the Russian invasion of the capital city of Kyiv, and it has been almost 2 months, yet Ukraine continues to live and fight on. Glory to Ukraine. Ukrainian forces liberate 8 settlements in southern Ukraine. The Ukrainian Operational Command South reported on April 24th that the Ukrainian army has liberated 8 settlements in the Kherson Oblast. Again, Kherson is over here on our map. Southeast of Mykolaiv. That was Mariupol from the clip. In the last days, members of the Freedom of Russia Legion, a unit of Russians fighting alongside Ukraine, underwent tactical training to practice cohesion in ambush and offensive operations. Russians fighting alongside Ukrainians? Freedom of Russia Legion. Okay. The 38th Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment of the ZSU, named after the Cornet General Yuri Trinanuk, destroyed another Russian helicopter. Should we hit the sus button on this one? I don't know about that. I don't know if I even trust that, really. Yeah, right. I haven't heard of that, though. Zelensky on the missile attack in Odessa as president. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. I share the pain of everyone who lost his children.
Як президент, я на щастя або на жаль, я не знаю. Я розділяю біль кожного і кожної, хто втратив дітей своїх.
Давайте Анса в самому кінці.
That was from the missile attack in Odessa, and then here's video of that if you missed it early in the stream. We watched it when the stream started, but here it is again. We'll just go through some of the video clips from that. That would probably be the biggest event that's happened, was this missile attack in Odessa on Saturday. Death toll has risen to 5, another 18 wounded. Here's Odessa on the map. Western port city to the south. Oh, it's to the west of Mykolaiv and Kherson. All right, more video. Aftermath. Picture. Video. Ukraine Emergency Ministry showing the results of today's Russian missile attack in Odessa. A block of civilian apartments were hit. So that's video of the aftermath. More clip video circulating on social media the moment the Russian missiles strike the civilian apartment complex in Odessa.
Андрюша, ёб твою мать. Андрюша, ёб твою мать.
And then here's more video. Video of the Russian cruise missile strike on Odessa today. Click it. See if there's any video that we haven't seen yet. We saw that. Mayor of Odessa.
Что оккупанты называют военным объектом. То, что они сегодня поразили,
It's been reported that it was a cruise missile.
своим высокоточным оружием, это они называют военным объектом. Уже сейчас подтверждено 8 погибших, из которых один трехмесячный ребенок, девочка, которая так и одесситка, которая так и не увидела жизнь. Твари вы и гореть вам в аду. У меня за спиной то...
Right. Here's another look at it, I think. Footage from outside shows the moment Russian missile strike on a civilian apartment in Odessa today. I think here's another look. Moment of explosion. 5 people died, 18 injured. A 3-month-old child was killed. So it was a couple strikes then. Another footage from a residential building in Odessa hit by debris.
Вот куда прилетело. Там горит машина. Вот куда прилетело. Там горит машина.
Saw that video. This is the video from the apartment that was hit by a Russian rocket. Doesn't sound like the air siren went off. It's in Odessa, the apartments. Two missile strikes. All right. UAV footage reportedly showing Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian troops. And I think that's like going to be one of the latest updates from this morning. All right, so the latest again is the missile strike in Odessa. Soldiers, the Azov battalion, along with other Ukrainian battalions, are trapped in the Azovstal steel plant, along with civilians. They're trying to work a humanitarian corridor to be able to get the civilians out, but Russia's strategy is just to starve out all the people that are in this Azovstal steel plant. Azovstal has been lost, or excuse me, the city of Mariupol. Contrary to what President Zelensky is saying, President Zelensky said that Mariupol is not lost, but I mean, the Russian forces have the city of Mariupol minus the Azovstal plant. So, President saying one thing, but the Russian forces definitely have the rest of the city beyond the steel plant. All right, y'all. Thank you again so much for choosing Mercado Media Productions. I've been Andrew Mercado. You guys have a wonderful night. I'm going to be off tomorrow, so Sunday's my day off. I'm considering streaming some video games and finally making that YouTube channel so I can start streaming gaming to YouTube again. But I do have a gaming Facebook page, so I might stream there a little bit. Who knows? I might stream there. I might stream some video games late tonight. I'm in the mood for it again. So just keep an eye out for that. Follow us on Facebook, Snack Squad Gaming. But if not, again, look tomorrow. I'm going to be adding a gaming YouTube channel, and we can interact more, and you guys can ask me more questions and whatnot. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the page. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys again Monday evening. If not, follow us on Facebook, Mercado Media on Facebook, and we'll be live Monday morning. Morning streams on Facebook. All right, y'all. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in.